Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So Operation Damage Control is in full effect by old media. Some of these old media members, they're even willing to damage their website's reputation by stating that Canelo Alvarez is still the best fighter pound for pound in the world, fresh off of a fight where Canelo Alvarez was completely dominated. Their main argument is Canelo Alvarez is still undisputed at 168. He's still the best at 168. Therefore, that means he's still the best in the whole wide world of boxing. Apparently, in their twisted logic, this means that Canelo is also better than Bivol, right? If he's the best fighter in the world. Now, and even though that logic, it makes no sense at all, what's really ironic is professional boxers are coming out, and not only are they saying it's not safe for Canelo to take the rematch against Bivol, but they're also saying it's not even safe for Canelo Alvarez to stay at 168. John Pascal just came out and he said that not only should Canelo avoid the Bivol rematch, regardless if it's at 168 or 175, he said he should also avoid the very young mandatory at 168, David Benavidez. John Pascal, he said that Canelo Alvarez is not hard to beat. He referenced Floyd Mayweather and how easy Floyd Mayweather was able to beat Canelo Alvarez. And just a side note, guys, isn't it pretty crazy that Floyd Mayweather, out of all of the guys that Canelo Alvarez struggled or lost to, the one that dominated him the most was the smallest guy out of the bunch, right? You had Bivol, Lara, Triple G, and the smallest one, a man that was 15 pounds smaller than Canelo, not to mention, 13, 14 years older? That's the one that completely dominated Canelo, won every single round. It almost reminds me of those videos you see on YouTube where one of the best basketball players dresses up as an old man, disguises himself, puts makeup on as a real old man, goes to a park, plays basketball, and he's just dominating the whole court. That's pretty much what the Floyd Mayweather versus Canelo Alvarez fight was. The only difference is Floyd wasn't wearing makeup. It wasn't a disguise. He really was an old man, a much smaller old man, going up against the young, bigger, stronger Canelo Alvarez. With that being said, let me go ahead and play the clip of exactly what John Pascal had to say about this whole Canelo-Bivol situation. And just keep in mind, guys, I always tell you, the fights that I was watching leading up to the Canelo-Bivol fight, just to get a better idea of how much of a chance Canelo Alvarez had to win this fight, the fights that I was watching was Bivol versus Smith Jr. and Bivol versus John Pascal. John Pascal has a lot of similarities to Canelo Alvarez. They're around the same height. They're both explosive while trying to use a little bit of slickness and head movement, regardless of how effective they are with it. And both of them lack one of the most important attributes you need in the sport of boxing, which is defense. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this clip of what John Pascal had to say. Check it out, guys.
3 years ago, I was telling people that Bivol beats Canelo. 3 years ago, I was saying that. But for that fight, I was going with Canelo because you know what? I got caught up with the hype, with the Canelo hype, because he went up to 168, beating everybody up and telling people that he sparred with heavyweights and was beating up heavyweights, and now he wants to get Usyk. So I've been caught up on the Canelo hype. But if I wouldn't get caught up by the Canelo hype, I would have said Bivol because he has all the tools to beat Canelo. Because Canelo, to be honest with you, is not that tough to beat. He's a good fighter, but he's not that hard to beat. You saw how Floyd beats him and usually he beats the other guy because he's stronger. But now he faced a guy who was as strong as him, was probably hitting as hard as him because people think Bivol doesn't have a good punch. I faced Bivol. Bivol has an excellent punch, a respectable punch, and he was moving a lot. So I knew that the Russian could have give him like a lot of trouble, but like I said, I got caught up with the Canelo hype. So I'm glad that I did. I'm glad that I didn't bet my house on it.
He got caught up with the Canelo Alvarez hype. Coincidentally, Jamel Charlo, he said almost the exact same thing leading up to his fight against Castano. During a media workout, he said people kept believing the Canelo Alvarez hype. Hype is another word for being overrated. The reason why you keep hearing so many professional boxers say this is because that is exactly what Canelo Alvarez is. Canelo is not overrated because he lost to Bivol. Canelo is overrated because he went 4 years trying to avoid the best competition, and every single time Canelo Alvarez was forced to step up in competition and take on a tough opponent, he either outright lost or the fight ended in controversy. Floyd Mayweather, Lara, Golovkin, and now Bivol. That's what makes Canelo Alvarez overrated, because every single fighter that was considered pound for pound the best in the world at one point, they have at least one dominant win over a very tough opponent where they were matched evenly, and they won the fight without a doubt. There was no controversy. When you hear John Pascal admit over and over and over again, he said, man, I believe the hype. I got caught up in the hype. He even said years ago, I picked Bivol to beat Canelo Alvarez. But then I started to believe the hype. It's kind of like going into that sunken place where you're hypnotized and you wake up one day and the spell is removed. I was caught up in the hype. I was believing, even though I knew Bivol was a more skilled fighter, but I was caught up in the hype. Yeah, in other words, you kept hearing old media and the majority of boxing fans on the internet, which the majority of boxing fans, unfortunately, are racist. You kept hearing this popular narrative. It doesn't matter how flawed Canelo looks. Forget about the fact that Canelo Alvarez's main claim to fame was losing to Floyd Mayweather. Forget about the fact that every single time he stepped up, he either lost or the fight ended in controversy. Forget about the fact that every time he fights a boxer, Canelo is down on the scorecards, and that's against C-level cherry-picked opponents. You tune all that out, and you only focus on what all of these fans on the internet and boxing writers and reporters are saying, and you become indoctrinated. You become caught up in the hype. Hopefully, this was a powerful sign. This was a message to remind a lot of people, at least the ones that are not racist, that you have to go off of what you see with your own eyes as opposed to listening to the popular narrative, as opposed to listening to what they say because how they want things to be or look or appear. Think on your own. Be a leader, not a follower, and never bet against the whole truth, no matter how popular a false old media narrative is. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, then this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called Elo Deki Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to elodeki.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram. Fellas, I've got some great news for you. If you've lost your hair or have a receding hairline, the time has come when you can finally get your hairline back through a process called scalp micropigmentation. So here's how it works. It's a hair tattoo that replicates the look of your hair follicles when you have fully shaved it down. So to get this hookup, make sure you follow and contact my man Scalp Carolinas on Instagram.